Into order. Meeting's over. No. Okay, all those that can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I get here early. I go through all this stuff to set all this up and then still doesn't work. So, well, thank you for everybody for showing up tonight. Roll call, please.
All board members are present this evening.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support Salvia.
Okay. Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, consent agenda approval. Motion, please.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Oh, support.
Sleeping. All right. Vote, please.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right. Next item is announcements. The farmers market is on Saturdays through October 5th out in front of the township complex here. From all evidence, they've been doing very well. And I think they like it there, actually. So I think we can anticipate that we may have a quote permanent home for the farmers market for once. Okay, the next item is public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Which one? Okay, two. Ladies first. Okay, next. No, I'm just teasing you. There's a button there.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Good evening. My name is Denise Pastana. I reside at Joshua Drive in Highland. I realize I may be a little late to the party, but I want to talk about all of the gas stations that are proposed here in the Highland Township. So I am a HVS school board member. I am president of the Huron Valley Community Coalition, as well as a community member. I am not in favor of this many gas stations in this square amount of miles. It looks like to me that there's going to be about 6 gas stations, including the ones that we have within a 2-mile radius. I am concerned about the gas station proposed at Milford and Wardlow, how it is going to impact Apollo, Early Childhood Center. I want to know if there's been any analysis done on the well impact, contamination that could happen there. I also, as a community coalition member, want to know what are we looking at as far as tobacco, alcohol sales, those that close to those schools. I'm not in favor of, and I don't think our community is in favor of. I did look up, there's a Michigan Liquor Control Code that says they are not allowed to sell within 500 feet of a school or church. And I'm not 100% sure how they determine that. I'm also concerned that how many gas stations will be there that eventually they'll be abandoned. There's not enough in this township to support having 6 gas stations. We think we're all moving towards electric vehicles. That's another consideration. So I don't want it to look like the drugstores that came into the area and now we see that Rite Aid is closed and everybody's doing things online. So I don't want that to happen in our community. And I guess that's all I have to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you. more time. There,
Oh, you just leave it on. Okay, thank you. My name is Jay Pastana. I live at 928 Joshua Drive, and I'm Highland Valley Association homeowner president. Don't have the titles like my wife Denise, but I have lived in the area. We've lived in the area for 25 years. I would echo some of the things that she said. Within a 1 mile radius, there are currently three, by my count, 3 gas stations, and you want to build 3 more within the same 1 mile radius. I'm concerned. First of all, I am a capitalist, and I know that these people have rights to build with regard to zoning and what the township has established. So you can't just say you can't do it because emotionally we don't want you to do it. But I would say that 6 gas stations and a direction by the Democrats to stop the sale of gasoline powered vehicles by 2035. We don't need 6 gas stations if there's going to be a lot of electric vehicles. The station proposed at Milford Road and M59, the old Marathon station. Very difficult to get in and out of that location. I think that's why it went out of business and it's been vacant for a long time. I would not be at all surprised that it would go out of business again, given what this Sheetz gas station across the street from that would be, where the old lumber yard is. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio. I was there last weekend. There is a Sheetz being built. It opened this week. It is a massive, massive concrete expanse. Most of the site is concrete. There are lights everywhere. It looks like there are spotlights. I mean, it just lights up the entire area. It is an impressive, large facility. It will clearly be the largest station this side of Waterford. It's just an incredible place. There are 6 or 8 sets of gas pumps. There is a retail part of it, but it's a massive concrete structure with gas pumps everywhere. So you may have seen the site plans. I was shocked at how large a facility it is and will be on that particular site. I also echo the concerns across the street from Apollo, how close the gas station is to the well water system at that school, and whether there has been or should be a water assessment of what the risks would be if there was a gasoline spill to the groundwater and to the well water at the childhood center there at Apollo. I think that concludes my comments. Thank you.
thank you, Jay. Anybody else?
I
All
have
right.
a public comment
Yes,
for, so GFL was taken over by Priority and now Highland has gone to 5-day pickup Monday through Friday. And they've mailed out flyers to let people know what their pickup will be. And it's today, Monday. It seemed like some people were happy with it. They picked up Saturday and today. So we hope this helps them.
I guess I'll add to that so that there's the flyer that was mailed out was produced by GFL and what's that? By Priority, I'm sorry. And our team tried very hard to get them to do a better job of producing the map. And if you look at the map and you can hardly read what street you're on, it's still going to be difficult to figure out what day you're going to have. But what I wanted to explain is that Priority, I think, has come up with a pretty smart move in that they're going to be in our community for 5 days. Now it'll be in different quadrants or sections based on that map. The idea is that they can reduce the number of pickups in a day. They have to plan for how many trips they have to make to the dump. So there's a lot of logistics involved. That's been one of the major faux of what's been going on is you load a truck up, you got to leave. And if the day runs out, you can't come back and finish your route. So not trying to make excuses for anybody, but these people are in the business and they've got a big learning curve here. And I think that what they're trying to do is they'll be here 5 days a week. You can get them. If you're missed, you can call and they'll have somebody in the community to be able to go pick those up. So let's cross our fingers it gets better than it has been for the last couple of months. And I want to give kudos to my 2 assistants, Cassie Blasek and Elaine Krimmel, who have taken on a huge amount of less than fun conversations. And I know it's not any fun for the public either. So let's cross our fingers that we can make this work. The thing that I do tell people is that currently you pay $3.55 a week to have anything picked up. I dare anybody to go out and take a trunk load of garbage to a dump and get it in that dump for less than $20. So it's a miracle that we can get it picked up for that price. And so I have a tendency to be a little more lenient and going, well, I can understand why they're having problems, but there's a lot to it. And we appreciate the number of people who have been very, out of almost 7,000 customers here, we haven't heard 7,000 complaints on a weekly basis. So, but we have had hundreds. So, but it's still, I appreciate everybody that's, taking it a stride and hoping we're going to be able to pull this through. So, on that note, please. Yes, I'll let you. Go ahead. Yeah, come on.
Garbage too. My name is Cassandra Rustfield and I am the director of Wiggles and Giggles Childcare at 1131 White Lake Road. Our concern is since there is more days of garbage, we used to have the garbage company turning around in our driveway since we have a U-turn driveway. We have put up no commercial vehicle signs to prevent that. It has not stopped them. So my concern is them turning around more in my driveway since there is more days they will be in the area.
They're turning around in your driveway.
Yes.
Get address and we'll get them to turn around in the neighbor's driveway.
Yeah, with no commercial because they're tearing up our gravel driveway.
All right. Well, thank you for that
They're
information.
pretty concerned, watch, make sure they're using.
Well, they can crush your driveway too with that garbage truck. So we don't want to do that. Thank you. All right. Any other public comment? All right. We're going to move on to the next item. And today we have Tim Colbeck from Main Street, Oakland County. And he's here to do a presentation to the Highland Downtown Development Authority. So Tim, would you like to come up and?
There we go. It's on, right? All right. It was on. Thank you, board, for having me again. As we know, we come out here at least once a year to sing the praises of the Downtown Development Authority. Every year, we go through an evaluation process that is created by Main Street America, and it's kind of our parent organization. And there's a list of categories that we will evaluate on the performance of this organization. I always like to remind people, we're not evaluating Highland as a place to live or to shop. We're evaluating the effectiveness of this organization. Are they practicing all the good, things that they should be doing, managing their finances? Are they participating into the community, and are they getting the community to participate back? I can honestly say again, for now, for me personally, 6 years running, the evaluation was stellar. It's been great. The DDA, the volunteers, and the township staff are really, they're forthright. They're very on top of what they need to do. They believe in the Main Street model as being an effective economic development tool. All of that has been good. I see the growth all the time. I was looking back at my notes, the increase of really getting the input of younger population, which is really important. And we're really seeing those efforts pay off. The physical improvements in the district, which have been really great over the last, now 4 or 5 years, the things like the implementation of these new murals, the wayfinding. I'm very excited to see what the final project is going to look like at Colasani's when the boardwalk's replaced. So again, all of those, it's just me saying how good and well this organization runs. And I always just want to lift them up. It's the volunteers and it's the staff and they're the ones who are doing all of this work and they deserve the credit. And the other thing, which is important to note, is again, I was double checking, this is 14 consecutive years now for the Highland DDA to be accredited by Main Street America. So that's not a small feat. I think that should be recognized. So all of that being said, I know there's some representatives from the DDA come up and give them the plaque.
DDA board up.
Yeah. Congratulations again. Yeah, good job, everybody. Done. Unless anyone has any questions, that's my presentation. So again, I appreciate every opportunity to come out here and you guys have a wonderful meeting.
Thank you, Tim.
Mhm.
All right. Thanks again, Tim. Appreciate it. The DDA has been really an amazing opportunity for our community. And a lot of people don't understand it completely and how it works. And I'm not going to go through the whole process of describing exactly how it works, but what it does do is it allows us to redirect monies that would go to other entities, the county, the community college. We do take a little bit from the fire, a little bit from, we did take some from the library. I don't know for the libraries a little bit and some from the township. But what it does is it stays here. And it's allowed us to do things like the streetscape where we finally got some sidewalks. We got rid of Lake Highland in front of the party store. And I don't know if you've paid attention to the flowers and the things that have happened. Those are all part of volunteers and the DDA being engaged in that. Our new mural on the side of the the old fire hall is a product of that, and the music events, and all of those are designed for business and economic development. It's not for private expenditures. It's to help maintain a healthy, quote, downtown. And we were very lucky a number of years ago to be allowed to have a DDA and to be considered a Main Street community. And it was really a bonus. It's been a bonus in the long run. And I really appreciate what the county has helped us with. They do also support us financially on an annual basis with some grant money. And so it's important to our community. And I really think that if people have any questions about it, please contact us. You know, we can fill you in, and you can get a hold of Missy Dashovich, who's the director, or my assistant, Cassie Blasik, or our treasurer, or myself, and we can help you out to understand better what the DDA can do and will be able to do. So thank you. Thanks again. I appreciate it. And the team has worked really hard to make sure that we get this accreditation, that we do prove that we're not just collecting money and building a bank account. We're actually making things happen with it. So thanks again. All right, we're going to move on. Next thing is a public hearing. This public hearing is resolution 24-26 to proceed with the Lower Pettibone Lake Special Assessment District for the control of weeds in Peninsula Lake and related services pursuant to 1954 PA 188 as amended. So 6:53 be opening time. So are there any public comments? Dale, you're on that lake. Do you have any comment? Okay, so if there's no public comment, then we'll end the meeting at 6:53 1/2. So that was a long one. All right, so the next step on that is to proceed from the public hearing into approval of resolution 24-26. Would somebody like to make a motion? Here, there's the resolution. Somebody who wants to see it.
I wondered if the approval needed to be listed separately on the agenda.
It's the public hearing and then it's it probably is just
Okay.
a grammatical issue, so.
I would move to approve resolution number 24-26 to proceed with the Lower Pettibone Lake Special Assessment District for the control of weeds in Peninsula Lake and related services pursuant to 1954 Public Act 188 as amended.
So Pettibone in the first line, second line, and you do Pettibone in the fourth.
Oh, it does.
Oh, and it says it on the agenda too.
And
So I would move to correct it.
as
The
correct.
Lower Pettibone on the fourth line.
Frederick seconds.
Okay, any discussion? She did. All right, vote please.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Next item. I think we have a couple gentlemen here to discuss this. This is URSA 24-04 special approval of land use to establish a gas station at the southeast corner of M59 and Milford Road at the former site of a Marathon gas station, 394 North Milford, PIN property ID number 11-22-376-008. Applicant and property owner is Tarek Geyer. Geyer, did I pronounce that right? And before you get started, this is a good opportunity to comment about gas stations. And I think Mr. Costanza made the comment about being a capitalist, if that's the way I remember he put it. I don't think it's a matter of considering whether it's a capitalist or whether electric cars are going to come or go or what's going to be the success of the future. What's there is today. That's the reality. I am a person that believes if you own a piece of property, you have specific rights to be able to do what you choose to do with it. And if it was my property and I chose to put in a gas station, it's all personal opinion, it wouldn't matter that somebody else thought I was nuts, for putting in another gas station. Because I have those specific rights, and I'm not trying to be derogatory. And please apologize if that's the case, if it sounds like that. But what happens is, a supervisor, since I've been in office, I have been trying to make something happen with those two parcels, nonstop. Marathon owned this parcel we're talking about. Never would respond to requests for would you sell it? They would just turn it over to their marketing people, so it was a surprise when we found out that somebody was interested in putting a gas station there. So, all right, well, the other side of it is, this is about gas stations as a whole. The other corner, the southwest corner, Sheets, had come to the owner of that property. For 12 years, all I've heard about is get rid of that old building, get rid of that mess that's there. Guess what? The township doesn't have the ability to get rid of anything. All we can do is try and promote people who own those properties to try and find a way to capitalize on their investment. And sometimes, well, at all times, we have no real choice in it. Well, the choice that we have is, does it meet certain requirements that we've established as guidelines for visual, for safety, for all these different things? So, and the same goes for the property up on Milford and Wardlow Road. It's hard for me to get picky about what somebody's doing other than wanting to make sure that whatever comes in there is as nice a product as possible. But it's hard for me to say, well, we shouldn't have any more storage units. We actually, if you want to think about it, we've become the community of storage units, gas stations, and car dealerships. The reality is there anything really totally wrong with that? There's a lot of car dealerships, there's a lot of gas stations, and there is a boatload of storage facilities. All the storage facilities are full. All the gas stations that are open are surviving, and we've got 2 down on Hickory Ridge Road right next to each other, so 2 more next to each other at this corner. We have, I don't know what the traffic flow is, it's 40 or 50,000 cars a day that go by on M59. That's huge. There's 14,000 plus that go north and south on Milford Road. That's huge. So if an individual deems or believes that the marketing strategy that they have is going to be successful, then that's what we want to see. We want to see successful. We want it to be a nice facility if that's the way it goes. So based on that, and this is what I'm trying to get to, and it's even for the board to hear, is that we as a township want to have the nicest amenities that we can have. We've had a dirge on the corner there for, well, I think the place closed back in the early 2000s, you know, so the lumber yard that was there, built in the 40s, and it's time to go. But the other thing that I want to point out is Highland Township has had gas stations on every corner since the early 1900s. There was one on the southeast corner of Milford Road. There was one, Roscoe's, Smith's father's. I think the Ace Party Store, Roscoe, that had a gas station there. There was a Standard station on the southwest corner. There was the Marathon station down the street next to where the railroad at was another gas station. There was a gas station across the street on the northeast corner of M59. There was gas station, I think Cobblestone had gas too down at Hickory Ridge Road. So the gas stations have been a perpetual thing here in Highland. And over the years, they've survived. And then those businesses that were operating changed over time, you know, and the gas stations of the old were the ones that polluted the place. So we have areas that, you know, downtown Highland, you have to have special wells. But the gas stations of today are not what the gas stations of old were. And the other thing we need to think about is, say we do switch to electric, where are people going to go to plug these things in at? Not just home, they're going to need places. So this is the transition period. What proves out, we'll only know by what happens as time goes by, but the transition will be that there will be electric charging going on at gasoline stations. It just is the kind of thing that makes sense. So if that in time makes it a healthier environment, if you want to call it that, from a local basis, then that's all for electricity, you know. But I just think that it's very hard for me to try and tell somebody we don't want you here because we don't want a gas station. And I know there are people that, you know, I know Denise, I agree, I understand your point completely. I would love to have something else there, but what? Nobody's come forward. with anything. I had 5 different people want to put a brewery in at where the 5 different companies put a brewery in where the old lumberyard was. Keep that old building, remodel it, put a brewery in. You know why there's no brewery there? There's no sewers. No sewers, no happen. And you're involved in, soon to be involved in a part of that process. It's very important for development to be able to have a way to handle the sewage. If they don't have it, they can't get anywhere. This gas station we're talking about tonight has a very minimal footprint. I mean, they don't have a restaurant. They don't have a scenario where they have to have anything that's much larger than a residential septic system. But when you put in a restaurant, you put in a facility like Sheets is going to be, they need that space. So what's come out of this is something that I think is very important. And I'm sorry you guys are having to listen to this, but I think you'll get something out of it. One of the things that I very diligently worked on was working with school system, the administrators. Now, I realize there's an administration, there's a board, and Denise, you're on the board there. The conversation was, if you're going to put a gas station there, where could you put the effluent? And there's a large parcel over here that, you know, at one time had a school and a septic field on it. And we talked with I talked with the school administration and talked about how it could be an asset. One, you are going to put in a facility, Sheets, that's worth, I don't know, it might be a $12 million project. I don't know. It's probably pretty extensive. That's a pretty good tax bill that helps pay for schools. The other thing is that property over here could then support a revenue stream that would help fund the general fund for schools. And then there's a thing that was a real big blow up, and that's the water. We have water here at the corner, but we don't have city water at the school. And anybody that knows that what went on at the school over here was somebody took a bottle, put it under the fountain, and it came out rusty brown. First thought is septic brown. You know, I mean, that's what you start thinking. So part of the process of this whole thing is, how can we get water to that school? The township can't do it, but through creative activities, one is hooking the school system to a business venture and allowing the business venture to be supportive by saying, we'll put the water to that school. It's a tremendous asset. And I'll give you just a comparison. If the school wanted to put that water in themselves, it'd be $1.5 million. That water will be put in by these people. The Sheets, more or less, will end up paying for it at no cost to the schools. The only cost would be water usage moving forward, like anybody else would. So by managing an asset as a school administration, you know, looking at the fiduciary responsibility that you guys have as a board and as administration, it makes a lot of sense to work together with the business partners to try and develop ways to make that happen. So that's my response, I guess, to the public comment, is that we need to really, there's times we need to work with businesses for the benefit of everybody. And sometimes they're businesses that some people like and don't like. And I know that they're going to get used dramatically. They will. So I appreciate everybody allowing me to do this ramble, but to me, it was important to get the public to understand you can't always pick what's going to go on a piece of property. And a lot of people know that by neighbors. You move into a place and somebody, you think it's a woods there, and oh, I love the woods, and somebody comes in and cuts it all down. If you don't own it, you can't control it. Township doesn't own anything like that, so we can't control it. So our controls are, how can we help people like yourself to do the best job possible to fit into the community? And that's where we're at. So what I'll finish with is thank you guys for coming in. Sorry for that. Denise, thank you for your comments. I really do appreciate they're important. And very important. And oh, by the way, one other thing, it's 924 feet to the Sheets building from Highland L. Yeah. So no, I know you haven't voted on it, but I'm just trying to explain, the value of, asset management, if you want to call it that. But so thank you. I do appreciate it. And you've done a great job as long as I've known you. So thank you for keeping that up. All right, so on to special approval of land use to establish a gas station southeast corner of M59. What I want to do is so as we found out a couple of meetings ago, when you do a special land use, there's some things that have to be paid attention to. So in the review of our packets, you'll find that there's minutes from the planning commission meeting and through the report from the planning consultant evaluating the application. So some of the details covered in the consultant review are specific to the final site plan approval, which has and will be reviewed by the planning commission. The board should focus attention on the standards of approval specific to the special land use. That's the 10 points or something that we actually we put our consultant to task to address that for us, as well as the planning commission. So for each point, the consultant has described what it would take for the applicant to meet that standard. In some cases, nothing more is required, and in some cases, there should be conditions, which in turn the planning commission recommended. So you see what the planning consultant has to say, and you see how the recommendations from the planning commission. It's probably not necessary to go through each standard. I think I tried to do that the last time. It got very cumbersome. I'm hoping that you guys all read the recommendations and the points that merit some discussion on our part is whether the architecture meets the spirit of the Highland Station design guidelines and whether we have concerned about site circulation. And I think we can trust the planning commission to follow through on the landscaping, lighting, and similar details. So the essence is that the package that we received is pretty much in line with recommendation to move forward. So if we vote on this, remember it is a shall be approved if they meet all of the criterion. It's not a, what's that? No, I'm not making a motion right now. But if they meet the guidelines, then we are required to make that motion. So yeah, I think if you guys, introduce yourselves and then let's talk about what your hopes for the site are. And, we haven't had the pleasure of you're addressing us. So I think that's a very good
very
thing.
much for the introduction and the kind words and practical points that you brought up. I'm Tarek Gayar from G&G Investment, and
I'm Howard Lee, one of the partners.
And we're here, of course, to get that special land use approval, and of course to answer any concerns, including the concerns from the residents, neighbors, future neighbors here for us. As actually I met the next door south daycare to our property in one of the meetings I had with the planning commission, and she was really pleased that this property will finally be developed and they will have some store or maybe a restaurant or a Dunkin' Donuts or Baskin Robbins next door to them. I'm not sure what kind of food we're bringing, but that's what we have in concept. A gas station and a convenience store. We're branding it BP. We're calling it Highland BP. It's going to be very simple gas stations, 4 pumps, I have 3/4 of an acre property, so I'm limited with only 4 dispensers and this size building. We had to accommodate for the sewer because it was there was no sewer line, so that septic field took that part. Maybe eventually when they have the sewer, my M59 will hook up to it, and then we can use then the place of the septic field at that time for like EV chargers for future use, and maybe that will be increased in the roads in the future as well. So we play it by ear as needed. Other than that, we addressed all the concerns of the planning commission, including the entrance. They actually, with the road commission of Oakland County and MDOT, in 59, they had us close the driveways closer to the intersection. And we ended up with one only on each side that is in and out traffic to both roads, Milford Road and M59 as well. It shows, yeah. Oh, and the next one actually, this one. So we only have one driveway on M59 and one driveway on Milford Road. There were some conditions in the last meeting to bring color renderings. That was at the first page. They were requiring also that historic look of the metal sheet like this building does. We'll probably color it different with the BP colors. With the green colors look beautiful in wintertime, especially when everything's snow and black. The other condition was the sidewalk in front of the building, instead of 5 feet to become 7 feet wide to avoid like hitting the bumpers of the cars parked in front of the building, since it's face-in parking, not parallel parking. So these are the basic 2 comments, and the other thing was the parking things, but that was like an ordinance issue.
They're going to rewrite the ordinance.
Yeah. And so we're okay with the numbers we have. We have like 23 parking space in the plans between the dispensers parking and the available parking. Please.
One of the concerns with the ordinance, they're tighter with the gas stations parking than they are retail. And we brought up the fact that the average gasoline customer is there for less than 10 minutes. It's not a 30-minute backup where they stay. So I know what their intention is to lighten the requirements. I think it was 1 per 125 usable square feet. Retail's 200, so they're going to rework that. And that's something they're going to do internally that we really don't have a lot of influence with. And if I could, to these people that came up, environmental concerns, these tanks and these systems and piping, they're double walled, they're fiberglass reinforced plastic. Not saying you can't have a spill, but short of an earthquake or an explosion or an act of terrorism, it's not the old gas stations. There's too many monitors and systems within the tanks and the lines. Even if you were compromised from outside the tank, these monitors and systems notify you and it gets shut down. If someone happened to careen out of control and hit a pump, it shuts off at the bottom, so gas is not spewed everywhere. Not saying accidents can't happen. That's why they call them accidents, but very unlikely, and it would be very controlled. Yep.
And I'll add to that environmental control issues. There's 2 parts of that from the state of Michigan. Engineering control, which is for the existing equipments above ground. The tanks, the piping, and the dispensers that could be used by the public and watched or supervised by the attendee behind the cash registers. And of course, the fire department will be aware of these things, and we have to go through their books and what have you, the ordinance. And then the second part from the state is the contamination underground. And thank you for bringing that up. Yes, Marathon had that location for years. And they decided it was not doing business for them with the way they had it designed and looked. I love the location, by the way. When they knocked it down, they demolished the building, took their tanks out. They put a deed restriction not to sell it as a gas station. And thank you for bringing that up, because that's a very valid point for any township. They need the taxes, or at least the entrance of the city to be developed, not an eyesore, a vacant land, and also cleaned out in contamination. When they could not market it or sell it, they finally approved it to be branded any other brand than Marathon. And that's when I came in and I put my bid and they accepted it. And then I'm putting as a BP, which is a competition to Marathon, but I condition them to clean all the environmental problems underground. And that is watched by the state of Michigan, by the way. So that a very valid point that you brought up. But it's being monitored as we speak, and the remediation process is ongoing, because Marathon Oil Company is taking the responsibility for that. Even though after we put the new design and the most modern gas pumps and good looking and technology and everything, and even controlling for the overspill and alarming and what have you. So that is also demanded by the state of Michigan. But still, they will also keep monitoring and pumping oxygen underground to reduce the old contamination that had done a long time ago. So I think that was the tricky part that they did to the township when they demolished their building. Yeah. But thank God I'm here to clean everything and open it back on beautiful landscaping to the entrance of the city with the best technology I have, I can get to you guys.
All right, so,
I have a question.
yes,
So I know the planning commission asked you about the sidewalks. So you're showing a sidewalk along M59, and there's an existing sidewalk along Milford Road. Will you be connecting to that sidewalk? I didn't see it on the site plan.
Yes, to be connected as it shows right there.
right there.
Oh,
Yeah. And that is usually under the supervision of MDOT
mhm.
and Oakland County Road
Wow.
Commission, because it's outside the limits
line.
of the property.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's partly in Oakland County right away and partly in MDOT right away.
Correct.
So I know that you did interact with your neighbor to the south, and my understanding is that it was a very positive interaction, and that you had agreed to the things they requested, fencing and what have you. And I think that's a good positive sign, because it is a child care center, and
Absolutely.
I think having the data and information that you were able to get to them was important and valuable to them. So,
Rick?
Tree that was really bothering them behind
Yeah.
the building. And it happened that we're removing that tree anyway. So they were very happy to hear that.
Rick?
yes.
I believe Beth Corwin would like to say something on this.
Okay, I'm gonna put Beth in. Maybe. How do I get you to get in here, Beth?
There you go.
Okay,
I just wanted to clarify that the conditions that Mr. Geyer discussed were from the site plan review from Thursday night. That's so fresh, there aren't even minutes yet. There are two sets of site plans in your packet. The first was the one that the planning commission reviewed under the special use, and it's not addressing the sidewalk connections, and there's a different era architectural details. The second is the set that the planning commission reviewed last night. So when you're looking at the recommendation, you need to go back to the minutes, because there were, I think, 7 conditions, one of which was some hours of operation. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on what was going on with the packet.
Yeah, I think what we have up on the screen is the current one. That's got the change in the, I hope it is, change in the colors or,
Right.
yeah,
Also, it shows still black for those columns, but the plan was for it to be cultured stone.
right. Okay, so gentlemen, I think you've probably exhausted yourself, and what we'll do is, before we discuss this, we're gonna do the,
Okay, I know you've probably studied this. I mean, I just see like a lot of complications and people trying to go north and turn in and get out from onto the Milford Road, and people coming at 40 and 50 miles an hour, heading east on 59, trying to make a turn in there or get back out. I mean, have you studied that traffic pattern really well?
Yes, and
That's a
usually
very
you probably
dangerous,
answer that. Yeah.
very high traffic, high speed there.
It is.
People are not going to be able to turn left going south from Milford Road easily into your driveway coming off on the east side. I'm pointing this out from just looking at the traffic patterns I see. I was also a businessman, so I understand your desire to have a business there, but there's a lot of issues I see with traffic being dangerous.
okay, so we need to discuss this under a motion, so,
Okay.
Can I make one comment, please?
yes,
One of the advantages of this particular site, say from the one that's just west of us on the same side of the road, is we're on the far corner where there is a traffic light. And that makes it easier to get into and to get out of. With a busy highway like M59 or say Telegraph Road, something with a lot of traffic. In our industry, it's very important that you want to be on the far corner. Just for the reasons that you spoke about. So yeah, it's hard to get in and out. Sometimes you're trying to turn right on M59 and you're kind of at the mercy of the other vehicles to let me turn right and get on M59. So that is a big advantage to be on a far corner.
we need to make a motion on this in order to really do the discussion. Well, the comments have to be based on a motion, so. Okay. So I'll make the motion to approve special land use URSA 24-04 for a gas station convenience store at 394 North Milford Road, parcel 11-22-376-009, based on a site plan prepared by Zaya Albaba Engineering dated June 27th, 2024. Subject conditions included in a motion of recommendation for approval by the Planning Commission on August 1st, 2024. The recommendations of Carlisle Wortman, and further based on the board's finding that the proposed plan conforms with the required standards of approval under section 6.03H of the zoning ordinance. And if the board wishes to add or modify any of the recommendations that are made, then they need to be done in this motion. So we could amend the motion if we need to, but I'd also like to add to that motion, and this relates to the color of the building. I have no problem with the green roof, but I would prefer that the gables be the same color as the rest of the siding, even though it's vertical. So just as kind of is it a gray color or something?
Sure. Yeah.
So the
Can use
your roof
darker
will be the
brick
green,
color.
and then the gables will be the same color as the wall. And then as Beth had made a comment that it looks like they're concrete block, but they're going to be a cultured
Hardy,
stone.
yeah, yeah.
And then the lower level, the dark line is a dark gray brick, horizontal board and batten, or horizontal clabbered cement siding.
Are we talking about the columns under the gable or the triangle of the gable itself?
The triangle of the gable. So
These are hardy boards.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the part that you have green on the east and the west elevation,
Oh, yeah, the east and west, correct. Yeah.
those should be the same color, but those will be a vertical
I agree.
Ford and
That
Batten, I
would be
think
more
is what,
beautiful.
what
I
you
agree with
expect
you.
there.
Yep. Yep. these two.
Yeah, the color. Well, I'm adding the color.
Yes.
Color change, that's a condition. So have a second on it?
I second the motion.
Okay, now we can have a discussion.
Does the motion include a traffic study? Okay, because I'm very concerned about, again, not to be disrespectful to your plan. I'm concerned about the traffic and getting in and out of there. When I go east on 59 to Duck Lake Road and I need to turn into the bank parking lot, which is on the far side, it's almost suicide because these people are coming at you like 50 miles an hour and you went just past the light trying to make a right turn. And it's like impact time, and it happens many times. So you got people then making their right turns northbound on Milford. They don't need to stop; they're going to make a turn. So there's a lot of congestion going on there. That's got to be looked at very carefully. So that's I can just see possibilities of traffic problems there.
I'm not sure that's a condition.
Joe, do you think that MDOT would review that? I think that's who
His concern.
would tell them
his
if
concern-
and where their driveways can be.
Well, absolutely, but there's a restriction on where these driveways can be because of the size of the plot.
Yes.
So I understand that.
Right. Well, and they've closed one driveway on each road per road commission and per MDOT.
Understand, I see that.
Mhm. So what, I'm just curious for myself, what do you think a traffic study would tell them?
If you go east on 59.
East
you
on
stop at-
59,
Stop at Duck Lake Road with the light, as you mentioned, there's a light. Then you
Duck Lake Road.
proceed to continue, and you have to turn into the bank parking lot,
correct.
which is kind of similar to this.
It's very close.
And then people are coming, you look in the mirror, they're coming at you pretty fast. And I've almost gotten bashed several times turning in there. So, and you also have the traffic northbound. They stop and then go because there's no reason that you don't have to stop at the light. You can make a turn.
Right.
So there's a lot of confusion going on there. That needs to really be resolved.
So if they get approval from MDOT and or road commission, I
Well,
think
if MDOT
that's it.
sees
They
that
will.
there's not a traffic issue there, I'm just expressing my concerns.
I
'cause
I
the
have
last thing I
Very
want is
concerned. I'm,
somebody gets smashed there.
very valid points.
yes.
These people come very fast.
I have an answer for that. The preliminary approval that we got is good enough for the site plan approval inside our property lines. When we actually go for the construction permit from MDOT, then they will go deeper into that study. I have been in different development before for gas stations, and they forced me all of a sudden to put that they call it pork chop. Only make this turn, do not make the left turn. They force the car to go a certain direction. For example, but not necessarily here.
So
If in a different scenario, they had me add a deceleration lane that addresses your problem perfectly. So I don't know, but as you mentioned, MDOT will have their own rules before they approve the permits.
and the same confusion will be if somebody's southbound on Milford crosses 59 and wants to make a left turn into your gas station. If they're going to try to make a left, if there's traffic coming, they have to wait. People are going to be turning right, trying to make their normal right turn.
That
south.
is, as Howard mentioned,
So
that they
it's
will
a
take
very-
advantage of the red lights that it has stopped the traffic already, and then they can make further down and then make the U-turn down the road.
People turning right don't have to.
Yeah,
They
you have
stop at the
to-
light, I think.
The exact same scenario, only it's worse at Hickory Ridge.
I
It's
know.
identical.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
And I mean, I think most of the accidents that occur there are westbound for some reason. I don't know why that is, but
Well, I want to make sure I raise the question because it only takes one tragedy. Okay, that kind of messes everything up really bad.
Yeah, I'm sure
And
MDOT
there's a
will
lot
have
of,
that
complexity
consideration.
in the turns to get in and out of that station. Okay, that's the thing
There you
we're
go.
on.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say on that.
Can I say something? I agree with Joe. I mean, I remember the old marathon station. That's why, honestly, I quit going there because I just was so hard to get in and out of all the time. And I'm all for people building on their property and doing all that, but I have a couple other concerns. That's a second BP gas station we're gonna have in the community, and which it is what it is. And I'm gonna say this, I just don't like the idea that I'm pigeonholed, that I just can't vote no. There's always, I still don't like the idea. It came up the last time, and I'm gonna stand by my comments last time. I don't like the idea that I've got to always justify everything, and I get it, but it bothers me. We never did this before that I remember, and all of a sudden now, if I'm not in favor of it, I've got to have all these reasons by just not making a decision I don't think will feel is correct. And I don't agree with that. I think it's unfair to us as, and I've been on this board for a long time, and I've never remember had to do this before unless we just didn't follow it and I didn't know about it. But that does concern me too. And I agree with what Joe's saying about as I said, the old marathon. I remember trying to get in and out of there. I quit going. And maybe I'm the reason they went out of business. I don't know, but I just quit going because I couldn't, it's tough. I think it's a tough corner. I agree. The other BP is, I don't know. That's my point. I don't know. Never mind.
I have a question too.
Yeah.
I have a question, and it's a little bit different than the other questions that were asked. And I was just wanting to ask you gentlemen specifically, because I know you're investors and you're very aware of financial conditions in different communities, but just for my own understanding, if you have two gas stations, one on each corner, you have one that has 20 different amenities compared to just a simple plain Jane gas station that maybe has coffee and whatever. You have a Sheetz that provides all kinds of food items and so on. I guess I'm just a little concerned too. What would make people decide to even stop at your gas station compared to one where you can get coffee on your way to work, you can get breakfast, I'm just, from a financial standpoint, we don't want to see any more vacant buildings in Highland. And, it's your benefit too. We want you to succeed. We want any businesses to succeed in Highland. I was just curious if, you have any ideas along that line, if you've done any financial studies or any studies about, we say that we've got two gas stations on Hickory Ridge, but in my opinion, those gas stations are fairly similar. So you pick either A or B. In your case, it's going to be a plain Jane gas station here, not disrespectfully, but you're going to have something over here where people can get a whole meal. So I'm just concerned from a financial standpoint too. And I know that doesn't really go along with what we're talking about, but.
Okay. Well, the reason I picked BP, they have the best loyalty program in the market. And that would allow me, number one, they have the biggest market share between BP and Amoco. It's the same company. They're 29% of the market share. That's huge. That leaves us with the best loyalty program that they have. You swipe your BP card, you get 15 cents off from the price that is posted. That is from the rack price. The rack price is set because of the stock market of the gasoline ended at 4 o'clock, exactly like when the stock market on Wall Street, they ring the bell, no more bids. It happens between the oil companies. They set the price for the South Michigan area, and the price is set. After that, we're all stuck with that price. So the competition between us varies. Who wants to make more or who wants to compete less to the benefit of the consumer? The unbranded gas is a different beast. Unbranded means it is not a certain oil company that is, they set their price already on that is fair between all this BP stations or Shell gas stations or Mobil gas stations or Marathon gas stations. The unbranded, they get their own gas from somewhere else, whatever. Consumers know the difference. They know that the oil companies, they put the detergents and the quality of the gasoline. They have the marketing tools. You have a wide shoulder behind that name. The name recognition is there. They did not make their name out of nothing. So when the customers, they believe a certain brand, and again, the market share of that, the number of gas stations in Michigan shows it all, 29%. So with that, that is my size wise. Yes, they're gonna be bigger. I don't know if they even applied yet. They're not here. I wish the best for the township, for the best development always. Competing with them, yes, I would look like the underdog, but I would be the more friendly gas stations to the neighbors at the entrance of the city, with a very good brand, the most modern pumps possible. I am not going to open 24 hours. That meets your ordinance as well. That's very important. I'm not going to attract a lot of traffic and in and out. So I don't want to talk bad about competition, but I will be the best example of a simple gas station at the convenience of the residents in and out Milford Road to the M59, heading east or west. So that is my target. That's my, and I need to sell gasoline to the company I'm dealing with. I am a distributor for BP in Michigan as well. And they're very happy to be in this corner. They understand that. I mentioned to them that we could have Sheets as a competition. And I was a bit worried, as you mentioned, how am I going to compete with them? But they assured me that this loyalty program is not going away. They actually allowed us to put it on the advertisement sign. Put your 15 cents off per gallon. No questions asked. As the consumer, you put your card. Whatever I'm pricing, if it is $2.99, you're going to get 15 cents even better when you use your BP card. So using my loyalty customers, serving the community that they like this location, and I would know them by the first name, and they will get to know my staff and everything, and this will be their convenience stop. That is my target. That's my goal. I'm not going to have tons of employees open 24 hours and everything. It's a different beast. If I'm not addressing to the M59 passing by traffic, maybe I will have a certain kind of food, limited. I'm not going to have tons of restaurants inside my facility like them. It's going to be different, but I think with the different size of projects, I'm not going to spend like in the range of $12 million like they will do, maybe in the $3 to $4 million if that takes. So size-wise, we're different. Return on investment is different. I would be content with a certain gallonage sold per month that satisfies me to pay for that investment. As simple as that. At the end of the day, you will end up with one or two nice developments as the entrance of the city, well lit and designed with nice landscaping and inviting, and paying taxes to the township, which is very important. This is a valid issue that we're here for, to survive and spend money around our facilities. I hope that answers the concern. It was a concern for me, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Very good answers.
Thank you.
So just for additional observation, when these gentlemen said that the southeast corner is the best corner, there's a rationale behind that. They get the northbound traffic and they get the eastbound traffic. If you think about the southwest corner, it's going to be very hard for any northbounders. Same issue. They're going to have to cross traffic that's turning right on a red, heading south to go to Sheets. And then the only other way to get into Sheets is to go all the way under the bridge, come back around and do a roundabout, and then get to Sheets going from the east. So what it does is that when people want gas, they want gas. If they want food, they'll go to a food place. And so the opportunities are, I know a lot of people that when I go for gas, I don't want to be messing around with anything else. And therefore, specifically get the gas and go. We've got a mobile station that's on the north side, westbound traffic. Everybody has to do roundabouts for that thing, so, and the other part of that is the owners of that are not worried about it. They know both of these are going in and they're not worried about it. So they know that there's enough people. I think that's what it boils down to. There's enough people that pass there that'll look at the convenience in one form or another. If you're worried about getting rear-ended, then you might take a different pathway to get your gas, or you might end up in East Highland, or you might do a roundabout and go someplace else. But those are things that as individual drivers, you need to be cognizant of yourself, so if you're not paying attention at an intersection, it doesn't matter whether there's a gas station there or not. Somebody's gonna, that happens regularly, people turning right on a red and they get hit because somebody ran a red light. So, I think what it boils down to is that, Brian, your conversation about you don't like the way that this happens. There's ordinances that people don't like that we're required to follow, and we have to support them. And the only way we can change it is to change the ordinance and the way it's written. And in this particular case, it's a special use. The special use requires that if they meet, if the planning commission and our consultants feel that they've met the requirements for the special use, then we shall approve. And that's kind of how it goes, whether you like it or not. So
I still don't agree with it.
well, that's the other part of it, is that it doesn't matter. It's not an emotional thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, even though our planning commission agrees and our planning consultant agrees, people can say they don't agree. So number 4, Brian, in the list, all special land uses shall provide facilities for safe and convenient vehicular and pedestrian traffic. If you don't agree with that, you're allowed to say that. I mean, you're right.
I just don't remember we had to pass special use permits in the past. When did we?
We've never
Never
had
have?
to. You don't have to.
Oh, okay. I just don't remember ever doing this. That's why when the first time we did, it just caught me off guard. I'm like, what?
Been so long since we've had a
Okay,
site plan.
fair enough then. Maybe that's why I don't remember them, was we haven't done them. Okay, fair enough.
Red
To
pop-
speak your opinion.
Okay,
and,
fair enough.
Yeah, you would just,
Okay.
when you do it, you just, pick one of the 1 through
No,
7.
I understand that. I just don't remember that. That's probably why I don't remember. Thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If you vote no, you have to say why. And, I think that yes.
If the motion is to deny, you need to articulate the basis of our standards, not with an individual vote. Do you understand? The way you worded it, you said, when you vote, you have to say why you vote no. But it's not for individual votes. It's on the motion itself.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Brian. This is a weird, the whole thing is weird, but that's what we're stuck with. So anyways,
I have a question.
yes, Tammy has a question here, so.
What are we doing with the issue of the traffic study or the MDOT standards? Are we adding that as a condition or no?
I'm not adding the traffic study, because right now what we're trying to do is give them the right to be able to continue with the process of it. They're even going to build it, if I'm correct, because with no special use permit. Yeah, go ahead. Then they're not going to have a traffic study.
I guess the only thing I'd like to point out is what is it that you're hoping to get from a traffic impact study is something you should consider, because in the end, it's not up to you. In the end, it's going to be up to MDOT or the road commission. And so I guess I just want you to think about what you want to get from a traffic study before you make it a condition.
I have a question. When does MDOT weigh in? Are you going to build your building, have your parking lot in, and then they're going to say you need a deceleration lane, a turn lane, or you'll know before you do the site plan?
Very good question. The first stage is we get approval from the township that this could be used as a gas station. Then we'll have to get the actual health department for the septic field that was designed here. Yes, we had a preliminary discussion with the Oakland County Health Department, Oakland County Road Commission for the Milford Road, with the MDOT for the M59 road. And they gave us some advices. Give up this driveway next to the intersection like the marathon used to have before, and that was a problem. So they have these for reasons. So they told us if you can do this now, will be less changes in the future. Now, when we come to actually ask for the permit to physically start the construction of such driveway. And MDOT is one of the toughest entity to deal with, by the way. They have their own rules and this, yeah, regardless if we get the city approval or not, they will, if there is a study that is needed, and they live their life for that. MDOT is that much wide, 180 feet, and it takes 3 lanes and then the islands in the middle. And they study every single move and traffic light and the timing of the traffic light, everything. So we'll do our part. And when it comes to that stage, we'll definitely have to go through that process. And if it is their ordinance to put a deceleration lane to address this valid point that you brought up, we have no choice but to do it. If it is not required and they have reasons because of that, they will let us go without it. That's their call. It's not my call as the owner or the developer of the property.
Joe, are you satisfied with that?
So basically, we're going to approve the special use, but I want to make sure that it's subject to some traffic evaluation or road commission approval.
MDOT.
Absolute in my mind, okay? That's the only way I'll vote to support that. Okay.
That's already a condition.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
We have to get the approval
All right,
from
just
MDOT
wanna make
anyway.
sure, 'cause
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
I drive there all the time.
correct.
A lot of danger.
We have to get the permit anyway.
Okay. So any more discussion?
I want to clarify the motion. So the motion was to provide for the conditions that the planning commission had indicated, plus your added condition that the gable color should match the side wall color.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay,
Good catch.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's the motion then.
Yep. You've got that. You should have that one. Yeah, I didn't. So I'll take that one back. All right, so remember what we're doing is we're voting to allow this use. And that's pretty much it. With, if they move forward, we have the right to apply certain conditions, and I'll use the red poppy as an example. When that was put through, I think the board was pretty much very much in favor of it. The planning commission had different ideas. And one of them was that, okay, only 4 kayaks. The township board had the right to be able to modify that and say, no, we took that out because why are you restricting these people to just 4 kayaks? You know, it didn't make sense. And so this is the opportunity where the township board, in conjunction with the planning commission, can say, well, we like the color here. You know, I mean, it's a personal opinion and it's not my own. There was others that, so that's an opportunity to be able to do that. So if there's something else like with the site that you want to add to it, you can.
So we've already established the fact that the special use cannot be changed because it's already there. Correct? For gasoline station, we voting against it doesn't make any purpose because it's already set. Okay.
Wait, no, Joe, I don't know what you're saying.
No, it's not set.
Is that piece of property? Yes. Okay. So we are voting to allow the gas station. Okay. And the gas station is permitted under special use.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So here's the big vote. Let's vote on this.
All right, voting. Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, no?
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
gentlemen.
very much.
So We appreciate your being here. Thank you. You still have a long row to hoe. So, all right. That's one down. Now, where am I at here? Paperwork. There we go. Okay, the next one is guess what? Another special land use. This is URSA 24-05 special. Well, what does that stand for? Thank you.
Use requiring special approval.
Yeah, Jenny informed me, so now I've got hit twice for that. So thank you. I never make it in the military because I can't do that stuff. Acronyms, yeah. Can't chew gum and do acronyms at the same time. So this is an special use approval of land use to expand Wiggles and Giggles Child Care Center by adding a portable classroom building at 1131 White Lake Road. Property ID 1102-300-002. Applicant and property owner Khalid Myson, I guess. KHAB LLC. Where did you guys come from? I was engrossed. So this went in front of the planning commission, and let me pull up some additional information here. And I'll do a little spot history here. Initially, you came forward with a request to put in what was literally a construction trailer that repurposed. It was going to be repurposed as a classroom. The planning commission asked you to do some things that, and I don't know if I have that.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it up. Oops. But I just put away. Hold on.
Page 207.
I lost my Zoom thing here. There we go. So let's see if I can pull this up on the screen. Let's see if this will do it. So in any event, Beth, I'm flailing here. Lost my notes.
Rick, if I could help.
Hold on. Got a stack of paper floating around. Here we go. Right in front of me. So I'll read this for you. So basically what ended up happening was the planning commission determined that as a general rule, based on the 10 items for special use, that they didn't find anything wrong except that the building itself. So you guys came back with a modification of the building. I'm going to try and get to we'll see if we can get some imagery here. So you can see that what I'm trying to present is that you guys did go through here's the original proposal. And your proposal was that you would do some type of artwork or painting on the side of it. And the planning commission requested that you do something different. And what you did do, I'm pretty sure it's in here, please, is you came back with the requests that the planning commission asked of you and presented this. So this is the same building, but it's structure, but it's been modified to present itself more as in keeping with the building that's there, the old schoolhouse that's there. And so I think that that's one of the things that wanted to make sure we demonstrated that you guys went and understood what the planning commission was looking for, which is really what the community would want to expect. And I'll commend you for doing that. And it is a business that we need badly. And I know that there's a demand is there. It's up And appreciate that you're trying to help fill that void. And so in any event, I had another little piece here, but it's in both cases, the planning consultants, the planning commission, and the Carlisle Wortman both felt that with certain conditions that it met the requirements to meet the special land use. And I think that like in the last one, that the planning commission's done its job. And so has our consultant, and that they've recommended that to the board that it be approved. And with any additional requirements, and one of them being the modification of the building. So what I'll do is I'm going to make a motion so we can discuss this to approve special land use URSA 2405 for a child care expansion for Wiggles and Giggles, 1131 White Lake Road, parcel 11-2-300-002, by addition of a building and site modifications identified on a plan by Niederveld dated July 1st, 2024, subject to conditions included in a motion of recommendation for approval by the Planning Commission August 1st, and recommendation of the Carlisle Wortman, and further based on the board's finding that the proposed plan conforms with the required standards of approval under 6.03H of the zoning ordinance. So there were some issues with, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Frederick, second.
Okay, discussion. So you did go in front of the ZBA, zoning board of appeals, and got approval to locate because it's non-conforming. You've got a corner lot where the setbacks, I think, are 125 feet, which makes it impossible to do what you want to do. So that required that the ZBA approved the placement of the structure on the lot. Let's see if I can find a. So we'll zoom in here. This is White Lake Road going east, and then Milford Road going north. The old previous building sits over here. There's a space, and then part of your playground, I think, is where that's located right now, is the proposed where the proposed classroom building is going to go. So you jumped through a lot of hoops, and I'm hope that we can make something out of it. So anybody have any questions? All right, let's vote. What's that? You guys want to?
We can introduce ourselves at least. So my name is Brandon Cheney. I'm with Naderveld. So we're the land planners and civil engineers for the project. We represent the new owner of the facility, Khalid, and then the director, Cassie, of the facility. So just to kind of build on what Mr. Hamel said, the facility's been operating as a daycare since the mid 1980s. Currently has license for 30 students. And the new ownership had determined, both in consulting the current parents and families that attend the facility, as well as the neighborhood at large, that there was a need for expanding their student population to include both infant and toddlers. So that's the intent. The property is zoned ARR, which is daycares are allowed via special land use under it. And when talking with Ms. Corwin's team, we determined, because we are expanding the facility, that we are required to go before you guys for the special land use. So we are here for you guys if you have any questions for us.
Well, maybe that was it.
All right.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off on that.
Where's the playground going to be? Is it between the two buildings?
We have adequate, we have like triple what we purchased out. We have that middle area for the safety of the toddlers. So we're wanting to add between two buildings.
Okay.
So the play is up at the top where the mouse is moving. Right in there. That's something.
Thank you.
Okay,
And there was discussion about the driveways, so you're keeping the one on White Lake Road on the east corner or east side, and then one on Milford Road. And you don't have to move them, they're existing.
Right, correct.
there's actually an ingress and egress is what I see on the Milford Road. Is that a
Yeah,
one-way?
So one of the questions that arose when presenting to planning commission was how site circulation would work. So we wanted to make it clear that there would be an entry and then an exit. There exists too, and then we look to maintain that, but just want to make it clear as to what we intend the circulation through the site would be.
And then you've got parking along the west side of the new structure.
Yep, along the east side, there'll be 12 spaces total, which includes a space for their existing shuttle as well.
Okay. Well, let's do a vote then.
Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Thank you all.
So thank you folks for carrying on from the former owners did a great job. And I think you guys got a really good business that you've inherited from them, so to speak. And keep up the good work, and glad to have you here and as a member of Highland's business.
Is there an age?
Oh, okay. You kind of had the look of your mom there, but I didn't know for sure. So,
Is there an age limit on the playground?
Yeah, Joe's looking for a place.
all right. Well, thank you guys, and we'll be looking forward to seeing how things go for us. So,
Thank you all. Have a
Yep.
good night.
all right. All right, Nick, fire up that microphone. Get it in your mouth so that we can hear you. Pull it right up there.
What kind of volume do you have on me today? Everybody hear me? All right. You're gonna introduce it or? So next is
Okay. This is a request by the fire department to purchase some equipment from Stryker. And I'm gonna let you you get to blow the hot air now instead of me, so go for it.
So with the new ambulance, we've got the ambulance you guys authorized me to purchase. It's coming next year, the first one. With that, it doesn't include things like the internal equipment that are large purchases items, things like that. Like the stretcher, stair chair. We're still short one more Lucas for a third ambulance. And cardiac monitor, because as age goes by, we have to replace those as things go. With Stryker, every year, probably September, October, November time, they have a price increase. So the sooner we can lock into those prices, the cheaper it'll be for us. That's what I'm requesting, is to move forward with purchasing everything for the ambulance next year now. So they can actually break up payment and delivery. So we can take some of the items in hand now and then pay for the rest of it next year out of the next budget year. And it'll let the funds I still have left over in our capital improvement for vehicles, I can use up the rest of this year's and then part of next year's to be able to afford all the new equipment. But Stryker's been vetted and our dedicated provider for this type of equipment. They're the only ones that supply this product. So we don't have to do a special purchase agreement from what I've been informed of today, if I'm correct.
So yeah, they're the sole provider of the Stryker equipment, and therefore it's already exempted from purchasing policy because it's the only one.
Correct. So we just need your guys' blessing to be able to move forward so I can lock into this year's prices before they go up probably next month. It's anywhere from 3 to 7% easily that can go up depending on how the economy is doing, everything like that.
Okay, can I make a motion?
I move to approve the purchase of EMS equipment needed to go with the ambulance, the new ambulance. All the equipment for this purchase is from Stryker. They are a vetted dealer that provides stretchers, stair chairs, cardiac monitors, and Lucas device. The total cost of these products with protection maintenance plans is $196,241.46.
Support.
Yeah,
Um,
we gotta add something to that.
Oh,
I just want to,
contract,
I just want to call out, I don't know if this is supposed to serve as the contract, but there's a very small link at the bottom of their proposal, which takes you to their terms and conditions. And it says, with every purchase, these terms and conditions apply. And some of those terms and conditions, the township cannot by law agree to. So I don't know if they're intending to provide a contract, which we will then have an opportunity to review, or if we should comment on these terms and conditions. But in any case, I would ask that any approval be subject to township review of the terms and conditions and or contract, whichever ends up being applicable.
purchase subject to review and approval by the township attorney of the terms and conditions in the quote and the contract to be provided.
And support with modifications.
Okay. Any discussion?
I have a comment. So, the ambulance was 400,000 and the equipment that goes on it is 200,000.
The,
That is insane.
yeah, the ambulance came out to be, I think it was 380,
Mhm.
right in that range, 380, 389. That doesn't include the stretcher, which is now a power load system that they use to save backs. All that
Oh,
type
it
of
does or does not?
Yeah, and it does not include that. So this will include that, and that's unfortunately right at the $300,000 mark now for everything. But luckily, like, hopefully we can get a couple ambulances out of the stretcher itself. And hopefully the Lucas and the cardiac monitor will probably get 5 to 7, hopefully 7 years out of things like
Good.
that. But
Yeah, it's just a gas.
yeah, the hard part is that after the shelf life or their running date that they have for them, they'll still maintenance the equipment. We can still get it maintenance and maintained, but it takes away from the liability aspects on Stryker. So once that 7-year mark hits, none of that equipment will be guaranteed. Like none of the liability we go back on Stryker if something goes wrong. So it's that aspect of we kind of have to replace it once we get a chance to after that time frame comes up. So that way we make sure that we have the best equipment available for citizens and safe.
And then do you guys have equipment currently that you can sell? Or do you get a
They will,
discount by?
in that,
turning
they,
it
yeah,
in?
in that they will take back the old stretcher and they'll turn in the old cardiac monitors, things like that, and they give us credit for it. It actually made the price cheaper.
Oh, good.
And then we can buy it back used later. Okay. All right, that was a motion. I'll support the motion. Oh, Beth did? Good job, Beth. All right, any more discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick.
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right, next item, resolution 2025, establish millage rates for the 2025 budget.
I move to approve resolution 24-25 to establish millage rates for the 2025 budget.
Cooper, support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion?
Just so you know, these are the current millage rates. Fire, police, stayed the same as last year because they went out and got their millage approved. Yay. And then along with this, I don't know if the clerk and the supervisor have to sign the L4029. Should that be in the motion too? I don't know. Okay. So I would like to modify that to approve the resolution and have the clerk and supervisor sign the L 4029. Whoever seconded. Support. Thank you. That was it. Any questions?
Yeah, I want to state that we've been running at 0.6 mils for a long time. So as Judy Cooper, former treasurer, says, about 25 years. I don't know any other township that's lasted that long working for banana chips. So
I agree. I just think that our township boards have done the best they can with it.
well, yes. All right, vote please.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, on that note, the meeting is adjourned. Now I gotta figure out how to get back to my my Zoom. End meeting.